guest is a conservative artist and author of the book Odious and Cerberus, an American Immigrants. Well, let me just bring him on. Julian Raven, thank you so much for joining us.
Good afternoon, Andrew. How are you?
All right, so real quick, give me a rundown of the book.
Well, it's an odyssey, so that means that it captures a big portion of my life as an immigrant coming to America, where I come from, being born in England, growing up in Spain, and going walkabout to find my destiny and ending up in the United States. And the adventure that was, many wonderful things happened along the road. And then as that progressed, it progressed towards citizenship, becoming an American. And then what do I do in my involvement then in politics as an artist? I thought, oh, how can I get involved? What can I do to live out my oath that I swore once I became a citizen? And that opened up a whole new chapter that this book really is about, which is the free speech lawsuit against the Smithsonian Institution.
Now, tell me about that. It involves a painting of Donald Trump and an eagle?
Right, correct. Well, back in 2015, I was inspired to paint this painting. I was always encouraged by Donald Trump as a New Yorker and his go-get attitude and wanting to run for governor in 2014. And then 2015 came along, and I thought, supporting and standing for this candidate who I thought could be a change agent, I thought was the right thing to do. But the whole story of inspiration is really something that needs to be looked into in the book, Odious and Cerberus. And then what happened is, after this 2015 campaign, way before most people were even taking Trump seriously, I then embark on a nationwide tour, basically taking my painting on the road, starting at the Iowa caucuses in January of 2016. And this wonderful journey now, my pilgrimage, my odyssey in America, now embrace this very colorful part of politics, this lifeblood of this nation. After Trump won, I ended up questioning myself, now what do I do with my painting? And along my journey throughout the United States, I had met people who said, oh, this needs to be in the Smithsonian.
Yeah.
This needs to be in the Smithsonian.
So you offered it to the Smithsonian, and they said what?
After getting support from many elected officials of upwards of 200,000 people up here in New York State, they were all very supportive of my application. Like Shepard Fairey, the artist behind the Obama Hope poster in 2009, 2013, the Smithsonian National Portrait Gallery, they displayed that painting that was donated to them by one of the Podesta brothers as a tribute to Obama's historic win. So I'm like, well, I'm going to offer my painting to display as a tribute to Donald Trump's historic win. And that's when the wheels came off the wagon.
See, here's what I don't get. I could look at a painting or watch a movie. I could watch a movie and go, look, I don't like the subject matter, but man, the camera work is great and the actors are convincing. And you could look at a painting and say, I'm disgusted by what I see, but it's a good painting. And that when you can't, that's how politics work. It'd be like looking at an attractive woman and then saying, well, you found out she doesn't agree with you. Now you say, she's unattractive. No. You said she was attractive 5 minutes ago. Now you found out you don't agree with her. And now you say she's unattractive. Now you can say her personality is unattractive, but her physical. And that's the way we should look at art. And look, we can look at art that represents terrible things, right? Terrible things. But say, you know what? That still belongs in a museum.
Well, absolutely, Andrew. And you're very correct. See, across the country, I had met liberals. I mean, Shepard Fairey's inspiration came from a guy named Yossi Sergeant. He was the guy that hired him to paint or create the Obama poster. Well, he had an art show at Politicon in 2016, and he's like, I want your painting in my show, and we're going to get it over there to California. And I ended up in California. But this was hardcore anti-Trump. It leftist. He said, listen, we agree on nothing, but I think your painting's great. It has hope in it. He wanted it in the main wall of his art show. And so I met leftists and liberals who hated the content, but admired the painting. They respected the painting, except the director of the National Portrait Gallery, who was repulsed by it because now Trump won, you see, everything changed. And now that whole issue of resistance had come up. And oh, lo and behold, there's a resistor in the National Portrait Gallery who took it out on the little conservative artist. and wanted to have a go at me. And she called me up personally, Andrew, and we had an 11-minute argument where she lied, she broke the law, she trampled my rights, my speech rights. It's all in the book documented. And then she said this at the end of as I rebuked and basically rebutted everything she said, at the end of the conversation is, I'm the director of the National Portrait Gallery. She's Australian. She's from Australia. She's not even an American citizen. So here's a former Brit, now citizen, arguing with a non-American in the Smithsonian. Not American. She's not a citizen. And she's like, I'm the director of the National Portrait Gallery. Your application will go no further. You can appeal it all you want, she says, and she hangs up the phone.
Well, did you say to her at any point, let me ask you something, is it a good painting, right? I mean, and I understand that beauty's in the eye of the beholder, abstract art, a nose can be way over here, but the question is it a good painting? And this is one other thing. Art and a museum experience is also curiosity, right? If you took paintings from the world's monsters, Adolf Hitler gallery, Joseph Stalin's gallery, Pol Pot's gallery, you're not going there to support them as an artist. You're going there. I honestly would be curious as to what kind of art a monster would make. I'm not saying you're a monster. I'm not saying Trump's a monster. I'm using their own judgment that when you put something on the wall and say, hey, look at that, you're not saying because I look at it, I support it. It's a curiosity, right? If
Absolutely.
Joseph Stalin was a painter, and I believe he was, I know Hitler was, I would be curious what kind of art the man made. I don't support his art. I'm curious about it.
Well, that gets to the heart of this. What's very interesting about the National Portrait Gallery is one of the standards for portraiture acceptance is that the painting doesn't have to be a great painting. It's a historic museum. It's a museum of history. So they're not even looking for artistic merit. It specifically says neither the artistic merit nor the prominence of the artist should have anything to do with selecting the portrait. It's about the historicity of the individual, how the individual has affected culture and the history and the people of the United States. It's not on merit. So after she refused and was like, oh, it's too pro-Trump, it's too political, and here's the Shepard Fairey portrait, you're like, what do you, it's a political campaign portrait. You had it displayed in two inaugurations, and at that point, it was full-on argument. Well, after I rebuked these arguments at the end of it, and she said those things, before she hung up the phone, it was, and it's no good, she says. It was like this spiteful little comment to say, and I said to her, have you ever seen the painting? You're looking at a few square inches of an image on a computer screen. My painting is 7 by 15 feet. It's 100 square feet in size. And I says, you haven't even seen, and she's like, well, where is it? And all this. And I said, well, you haven't even bothered to want to try and see the painting. And then she lost it and hangs up the phone. So she wasn't interested. She just found any objection that she could come up with, personal objection, breaking the law, breaking the standards of acceptance at the Smithsonian National Portrait Gallery, and then trampling my rights because I said to her specifically, the political speech of the Obama poster was so obvious, and she says to me, well, yours is too political. And if the government accepts any political speech at all, it must accept all political speech. That's